fuck are all the knives?
Oh, I have one.
Oh, thanks. I was just about to... What the fuck is wrong with you? Why would you do that?
Just go get it. This hallway's only a mile long.
That's gonna take me like 20 minutes to walk all the way.
Yep.
That sucks. I just want to do the fun part and eat my goddamn toast with jam. When we're all done with the bullshit of living a life with responsibilities, we get to enjoy the stuff that truly makes us happy. Like playing as Spider-Man.
Well, you better clean your slag off that sloppy well. Boss sees that, he'll be...
Except when the game decides to change the rules and starts shitting all over my time. And, you know, something very unique to me is that I value my time.
Obnoxious.
No.
Yesterday, you spent 4 hours playing the same NPC over and over again, trying to get a card in Final Fantasy XIV.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I gotta fill my collection.
And you didn't get it.
Games are expensive these days, and for most people, the most important question about new games is, well, how long is it? Game companies know that length is an important factor for most gamers. That's why open world games are so prevalent. Not only is it easy to sell something if you keep bragging about how big and massive it is, in general, that's just what most gamers want. I mean, compare these two games by only length. Which one seems more worthy of your $60? Clearly this one, right? Right? But with how giant these games are getting, it makes you wonder, how do we fill them up with stuff to do?
Adding engaging side quests that can not only explore story themes not present in the main story, but also add new gameplay bits that help players refine aspects of gameplay they may not have experimented with yet?
While that's how content should be done in games, it is unfortunately very expensive and could potentially take away money from marketing how big the game is. The gaming industry is a bottomless cesspit we're never crawling out of. So what do companies do? Padding, one of gaming's biggest sins. Padding is when developers find easy ways to make a game artificially longer. The most common form of padding is reused content. Think most boss rushes. A lot of times it's easier to just say fight these fuckers again than creating new content. But there are other ways that games get bloated, like adding pointless story beats that last way too long for no reason.
Oh no, I dropped the key to the area. Now a mischievous little gremlin stole it from me. Could you go get it?
The Final Fantasy VII remakes do this all the time. And while I'm talking about the Final Fantasy VII remakes, another method I absolutely loathe is animations that take long for no reason. Both remakes are guilty of this. Levers that take forever to be activated, slowly shimmying across a tight passage, or this slow-ass Mako vacuum. This is the form of padding that pisses me off the most, because it's not a big deal and I know it, but it's the fact that the game is really so desperate to make itself longer that it has to waste like 5 seconds of my goddamn time. My favorite way to pad a game though is cranking the difficulty so high that it takes you an entire game session to beat one level. While this way of making games longer isn't really used as a padding method these days, I find it interesting because it had a very important purpose. A lot of games were only in arcades, and well, the point of arcade machines in the 80s and 90s were to siphon as many quarters from your pockets as possible, and the harder the game, the more money people put in. Trust me guys, I know this. I speak from experience. And as for home console games, many of them like Ghosts 'n Goblins or Ninja Gaiden were inspired by their arcade counterpart. Yes, their iconic NES games were actually semi-ports of the arcade versions. But the other main reason for this difficulty was simple. Game cartridges just didn't have that much space for content on them. And how do you make a short game longer with drastic console limitations? Make it so difficult that you'll want to peel your non-existent nails from your ball hands. And honestly, I love it. Yeah, it may not be necessarily good game design, but I feel that we wouldn't remember a lot of these games if they didn't have that classic NES difficulty. Something else that's somewhat good about the NES difficulty is that compared to most modern ways of padding, the difficulty makes the game engaging. Chasing this stupid fucking creature is not. Listen, I don't dislike the Final Fantasy VII remakes. I think they're incredible games that pushes the medium to the next level. With fantastic graphics, an amazingly intricate combat system, and a phenomenal soundtrack. And a lot of times, bad padding creates this huge ludonarrative dissonance that breaks your immersion into the world of the game. I feel that a lot of Final Fantasy VII remakes and rebirth chapters contain needless bloat that absolutely destroys the pacing of the story. Like, for example, Chapter 14 in Remake. At that point in FF7's story, you're escaping to the top of Midgard to rescue Aerith, who got kidnapped by the Shinra Company. The last thing you'd want to be doing in that scenario is chase a stupid fucking dumbass goblin for a key to a wooden door. Though the funniest example of ludonarrative dissonance created by padding are level gates. Level gates are when the game blocks progression because you aren't a high enough level. They're especially funny when they happen on an urgent point in the story. Come on, we have to hurry. The bomb is gonna blow up in 5 minutes. If we don't move right away. Wait. You're not level 50? Maybe you should go grind for 7 hours before we do this. I don't even dislike level gates. Yeah, it's an incredibly lazy way to limit progression, but I won't lie. I find it incredibly engaging when you're still allowed to go to areas way above your current level. Being challenged by having to run and sneak around enemies that one-shot you adds a lot of tension and risk to these games. Level gates are best when instead of completely locking the door of progression, it just makes said door extremely hard to push open. Elden Ring does this fantastically. If you're massively underleveled, nothing stops you from brute forcing your way through the challenge. But if you find the challenge too hard, just go do something else. Level up, and come back later when you're stronger. This is where I feel good padding can help games have an exciting gameplay loop. A company I think does padding really well is, shockingly, Bethesda. Think of your first time playing Oblivion, and as you're going to the main quest marker, you notice a cave on the side of the road. So, like any great adventurer, you go and explore it, which then leads you to a quest, which then leads you to ruins, which then leads you— oh, would you look at that? It's been 6 hours and it's midnight now. You spent all this time just wandering about and completely forgot about the main story. But you were having fun, so it didn't matter that you didn't progress the story.
But wait, that's not padding. That's just good game design.
And I don't want you guys to have the wrong idea. I don't hate long games. Quite the opposite, really. Some of my favorite games I spent way more than 100 hours on. But in Red Dead Redemption 2, I wasn't forced to play a stupidly long poker tournament. Listen, it's fine to have a lot of content, but when the pacing of the game suffers because of it, that's when the game being long is a problem. And you have no idea how important good pacing is for any type of media. Look at the Chozo artifact hunt in Metroid Prime, for example. You need to backtrack to old areas to get 12 artifacts just because the game arbitrarily tells you that you need them. This happens at the very end of the game, when you likely have everything you need to go beat the final boss, so it's not like you'll discover any new interesting tools to use. And while you can collect them as you go through the game, well, let's be honest here, new players are not going to know where to find them, making it a huge chore to gather them all at once. Or in a similar vein, the Triforce Shard Hunt in Wind Waker. Not only does it take long to get all the shards, in the GameCube original, you have to pay exorbitant prices to Tingle to decipher charts that then tells you the location of the shards. That's right, instead of having one chart that tells you where to find every shards, you have a chart that then tells you the location of a Triforce chart that then you need to decipher. Only when they're deciphered can you now go get the shards. And then for one of them, you need the Ghost Ship chart so you can get the Triforce chart so you can go get the Triforce shard. Thankfully, in the Wii U version, you only have to pay Tingle for 4 of the Triforce charts instead of all 8, making it the second good thing exclusive to the Wii U. Making it the only good thing exclusive to the Wii U. I want to end the video with a hopeful note. My favorite game of 2024 was Astrobot. I'm not going to go into detail why, but all I'll say for now is that there wasn't a single time playing it where I wasn't smiling. And for me, seeing this short but extremely enjoyable, passionate love letter to Sony's history win Game of the Year made me hopeful. Hopeful that more companies realize that we don't always need 100-hour games that redefine what gaming is. Sometimes the best kinds of games are the simplest ones. A short 15 to 20 hours of pure fun is sometimes better than 15 to 20 hours of mediocre padding in a 100-hour game. Like Reggie said, if it's not fun, why bother? So like this is the part where I end the video and it's like super deep and it makes you think about every— Anyways, that's it. Eat shit and die, bitch.